Good evening. Welcome to another one of my Tararua tramping vlogs. Today I'm here at the edge of a farm east of Levin, Poads Rd entrance to the Tararuas, and I'm going to be doing the northern crossing, which goes from Levin all the way to Masterton via Arete, the Waiohine Pinnacles, and Mitre, like in one of my previous videos. Just come to the first junction from Poads Rd, 15 minutes away, and I'm off to Waiopehu Hut, which is 5 hours away according to the sign. We'll see about that. Originally, meaning before I woke up this morning, my plan was actually to book the bus tonight after checking the weather forecast, and to try to get to Arete Hut all in one go tomorrow. But yeah, I figured it's probably not a great idea to do 12 hours of tramping before one of the, a big crossing, which is not marked and involves crossing quite steep and precarious pinnacles, the Waiohine Pinnacles. I figured, yeah, it's better to break it up. And actually right now it was supposed to be rain and gale force winds. I don't know where that all went, but I'm thankful. Good morning from Waiopehu Hut. It's quite a nice view out there, all the way to Levin in the distance. It's a really nice hut actually. Yeah, and plenty of bunks and no fireplace though. But we're staying at for the view. The track yesterday wasn't actually as long as I was expecting, so it said 5 hours on the sign, but it only took about 3.5 hours. So I was thinking that I was like gonna get to this hut at 11, but I got here at 9:40ish. It's just pretty good. Amazing view from this hut. It's nearly 11 o'clock. Quite late to depart, but oh well. It's gonna take 4 hours to get to this hut called Te Matawai, and from there another 2 hours to Arete, where I plan to stay tonight. You can see someone's died here. You can never get complacent here. So I've made it to the cable ends track junction. It says here 3 hours to Waiopehu Hut. Like if it was gale force winds and bucketing down with rain, as it quite often actually is here, then sure, but yeah, that takes about an hour, and I'm going pretty slowly anyway. Yeah, 2 hours it says on the sign. Well, by that measurement I'll be there in 15 minutes, maybe. So there's a saddle up ahead, a hut somewhere that way, and Te Matawai somewhere like here. Yeah. Approaching Butcher's Saddle now. There's a lot less boardwalk than yesterday. Plenty of mud around, but not too difficult. Finally, just over 3 hours to get here. Te Matawai Hut. Te Matawai has a fireplace and plenty of bunks, so pretty good. Kapiti Island's in the distance over there, and TA route, this ridge here. So the Araroa Trail goes that way, but tonight I'm going to Arete Hut, and that right there is Arete. And the ridge I'm going to be travelling tomorrow. I'm so excited now actually. So, this is the top of Arete. Whew. Yeah. I completely soaked. Just exhausted. Despite it feeling like naturally you should head this way, you know, start turning right to head onto the ridge that's in the cloud that way, there's a waterfall and a cliff in that direction. So you actually want to kind of skirt around that, head around and then along the ridge. There's a little pink band on an old marker heading this way, which tells you you're doing the right thing. I'm actually heading northeast now. Yeah, even though the hut is southeast of me. So yeah, don't turn off Arete, sort of ridge, until you get to this sign. Welcome to Arete Hut. Quite small. Someone else is here but they've gone for a walk, so I started filming. So I'm set up for making dinner. Yeah, it's been a good day. I'm really glad I made that decision not to do this whole thing up to here in one day. Yeah, rushing really takes away from the experience, I think. You know, you're just so focused on getting to the destination, you don't really appreciate where you are. And plus, if you're vlogging like I am, it also takes some of your experience away. So if I was rushing and vlogging, it would be as if I didn't even experience it at all. So, good decision. So, it took 7 hours today to get from Waiopehu Hut to Arete, and just over 3 hours to get from Matawai to here. Good morning, just before sunrise. Banister over there, the tallest one. Right down there is a Tarn and Arete Hut. I believe that peak you can see there is Mitre, where I'm probably going today. The tallest one there. This is the ridge which I'm following today. Behind there are the Waiohine Pinnacles, which are going to be an interesting thing to cross for sure. Man, I've been fluffing around at this hut for too long. It's 9:50 now. One note is that this is quite a nice place here for setting up a tent next to the hut. So if you're worried that this 2-bunk hut's not going to be enough, there's plenty of places to tent. Someone else was at Arete Hut last night, and they said actually that the origin of the name is actually French. So it's Arete or something like that, not Arete. So as you can see, the route from Arete Hut to Lancaster, which is just before the Waiohine Pinnacles, is not terrible. If this ridge here is a good escape route, if you can't go by the Waiohine Pinnacles, it's a good escape route. It's still pretty gnarly, but that ridge there leads to Arete Hut. An even better angle showing why you should not turn right too sharply from the summit of Arete. A view of what I'm in for. Yikes. The Waiohine Pinnacles. Stuff of nightmares, at least my reputation. But some people think they're alright, at least in good weather. A lot of these kind of features, the horror stories come from when the weather isn't perfect, like today. In the distance there you can see all the way to Mount Hector. You can see where Anderson Memorial Hut is, the Coles Hut and the sort of TA sections of the Tararuas. And I'm going up Lancaster, which you can't quite see the summit from here, and then heading back to go down the Waiohine Pinnacles. At the summit of Lancaster now, and facing the direction of Arete and Arete Hut, where I came up yesterday. And if you can see, Te Matawai is in the distance there, as well as the TA sort of parts of the track there. And Car Creek is this mountain here, and there's Car Creek Hut somewhere down that way. One day I'll get there. It's one of the most remote huts in the Tararuas. Look at this valley just south of Lancaster. Looks amazing for camping. So remote. You can see Waiopehu in the distance, and Araroa even, if you squint your eyes. So, from Lancaster, I go down the Waiohine Pinnacles, along to Tarn Ridge Hut, which is somewhere there, up to Girdlestone, around to Brocket, and then the real distance, Mitre. I just don't want to leave. I want to spend like a whole day just sitting staring at this view. Magnificent. One thing I'm definitely not going to be using on the way down these pinnacles are walking poles. I need both hands free, and I need to be as close to the rock as possible. Quite easy to get lost here in low visibility, that's for sure. End up going up down that pinnacle that way and not having any way to get down. Oh, yikes. And I'm not a big fan of heights. This is not too bad thus far, but it's just that this is only the little pimples before the main event. It's kind of getting me a bit anxious. I don't like this at all. I want to keep that red sounding. Maybe I should not have carried so much water. I'm taking my time. There's no way I'm doing this in an hour and a half, as the sign says, to get to Tarn Ridge. I need to think before I do anything now. Yeah, this was as bad as I thought. And this is only the pimples. So it's not even like such a huge drop. It's just the fact that if I do fall, it's like all my bones in my body broken. Yeah. More like a goat now. Billy goat. Oh, look at that. Loose fucking rock. That's not fun to mess around with. I've now just entered the sort of ultra cautious mode. Not taking any chances. Just slow and steady. I don't know how much of this I'm going to keep in the final video, but just that has already terrified me. Imagine if you didn't know about this and you just decided to spontaneously go to Arete Forks and it was evening, kind of like when I did with Monga Hooker Hut and that ladder. Well, I did know about the ladder, but not the section before, which was unchained when I did it. So, not great. And this rock is not even that stable. Yeah, you'd think pinnacles it would mean stability, because you know it's the rock that survived whilst the rest eroded away long ago, but apparently not. And so even like big chunks like this, they look kind of stable, but you're good to test your weight on them before you commit. But you never can really stop it entirely, but given people have traversed this recently, I'm fairly confident some of the major one, like handholds, are well tested. Ooh, that's so scary. Anything that says pinnacles on a New Zealand topo map, you know you're in for something. Not so bad here, but yeah, if I had tried to get to Arete Hut yesterday instead of breaking it up and I was tired, I mean, you know, this would be insane to do. You need to be well rested like I am and have all of the energy in the world basically, which I actually do, partially thanks to the anxiety. I'm awake, more awake than I've been in a while. No energy drink, caffeine required. So if you're thinking, looking at the map one day going, oh, she'll be all right, it's only 50 kg winds and you know, whatever, like, or only a bit of ice or some other thing like that, this is not something you want to cross in anything but weather like this, really. I was very, very right to be cautious about this. In fact, I actually underestimated it, despite all my worry mongering. Well, it's not been too bad since that initial set of pinnacles. I reckon it will definitely be easier to walk the other way, so south to north, Tarn Ridge to Arete Hut. But yeah, this is good conditions, little wind, no ice, no rain, no fog, nothing like that. Now approaching Tarn Ridge. Yeah, literally just that first bit after the sign for 20 minutes or something, it's really dodgy, but after that it's actually quite fine, thankfully. Girdlestone in the distance. I made a silly mistake walking along Tarn Ridge. I didn't fill up my water bottles at any of the tarns. I have actually enough water that I could probably ration going over Mitre and down to Mitre Flats tonight with it. But yeah, not ideal that I'd have to ration. So on this ridge here, there's a lot of tarns, and and so might be able to just sort of descend without my pack and get some water from there. That's cool. There's a hut in that valley. That might be Arete Hut actually. Somewhere I could retreat to. This looks relatively okay, but I can hear waterfall sounds, which is always a problem. It's my lucky day, Tarn. So I won't need to descend a lot to get to one later. Fill up this bottle. Yeah, just be careful because there'll be parasites in water like this. You need to treat it either by boiling or a treatment tablet. Okay, there are actually more tarns than I thought. That's good. Around 15 minutes from Tarn Ridge Hut, and there's Girdlestone imposing over there. Here's a grave site. Someone who died in 1959. Here I am, Tarn Ridge Hut. Yeah, I don't think this water tank has been repaired yet. Never mind. Guess I'm not drinking that horrible Tarn water. What a view. That's my pack. Anyway, Tarn Ridge Hut. Yeah, so a bit of storm damage. Not too bad on this end, but you can see here the mold. Looks like they've recently patched it up a little bit, but yeah, you can see the damage. Even comes with a fireplace, although you'd have to do a bit of a hike downhill to get wood. So it took me just over 4 hours to get from Arete Hut to Tarn Ridge Hut. Yeah, roughly what the sign says. And I also did that excursion up Lancaster. So, yeah. So, just having a late lunch. It's a nice hut, all things considered. I mean, if I had to, I'll definitely stay a night here, and it wouldn't be terrible. It's actually a very nice spot. But yeah, just thinking about how terrible of a storm it must have been to cause all that damage. So apparently it's 6 hours from Girdlestone to Mitre Flats, and I'm about, I'll give it a good 40 minutes to get to the top of Girdlestone from here. Big day, but I'll have plenty of time to rest tomorrow. Well, that hut's seen better days. Hopefully they'll repair it soon. There's that tarn I would have had to have gone to if I couldn't find water at the hut. All the tarns before. A little bit of rough track up ahead, possibly a fair bit of climbing as well. Well, you can see it's not too bad. Obviously in tomorrow's weather forecast with 80k winds, rain and fog, this will be quite dangerous, but right now in clear weather, the climbing itself tiring but not too technical. So a wee bit of climbing, but not too much. Pretty much exactly a year ago I was here. Right where I am now, well, this is the furthest point I got on my Mitre trip. That's Mitre right there. You can see that trip. I think it's the first video I posted on my channel. Yeah, and the conditions are actually very similar today to back then. So I'll keep the vlogging short for this next part. If you want to get more detail, obviously watch my Mitre video. So if you are heading from Girdlestone to Tarn Ridge, or all the way to Dorset Ridge in the distance there, you'll see these kind of like sort of sharp angles and things here and be like, oh my god, you know, but it's actually not that bad. So it's taken me 6 hours to get here from Tarn Ridge Hut, and so that makes a total of 10 hours today of tramping. Good morning. I've just departed Mitre Flats. I didn't stay at the hut because the hut was full, so I had to tent outside, hence why there's not too much footage of Mitre Flats hut. Last night's track down from Mitre wasn't too bad. It takes forever though, and some of the markers are missing and parts of the track are overgrown. It's quite easy to get lost in the dark on the way down. So there's been a change of plan for me. Normally doing the Northern Crossing, you would go out to Mitre Flats car park, which is about 4 hours walk, and you know, a bit of scrambling, a bit muddy, a bit narrow in the track at some points, up and down, and then there's farmland for quite a bit, but not too difficult. But I'm going to Cow Creek, which is upriver, you know, for 4.5 hours, and then over to Blue Range Hut. So I'm doing an extended little route since I got to Mitre Flats last night instead of staying at Dorset Ridge. So my thoughts on the northern crossing of the Tararuas. I think it's really cool actually. The scenery is actually even better than the southern crossing in my opinion. But yeah, it's far more rugged, and yeah, you definitely need to take your time and pick a really good weather window to do the northern crossing. Taking me just over 5 hours, but I did get lost for half an hour, misdirected by a marker up a hill. So, Cow Creek Hut. It's got a fireplace and 6 bunks. Farewell to the Waiopehu River. So, Blue Range Hut. Took me just over 3 hours to get here from Cow Creek. Yeah, just quite steep going up, but the track's perfectly fine. Might be muddy in most of the year, but at the moment it's fine. It's quite a cool hut, Blue Range Hut. It's quite quirky. It's got lots of random signs, forensic service. If reception is unattended, please ring bell. Don't enter while surgery is in progress. Lots of random signs. And it's because I think a bunch of the people who were in the tramping club worked at the hospital. Waiopehu Hospital. Yeah. So it's got 4 bunks, a water tank outside, and a toilet. So everything you need. So it's been a great stay at Blue Range Hut. I've got a big day today, 8 hours of walking to get to a train station by 4:40. Running a tiny bit late actually. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you got something useful out of it. See you on the next one.